Hi, I'm Shabadoo, and you're watching BDTV.
Okay, peace family. So we're joined once again with another special guest, and this time it's the Big Court Dog, aka Big Court. What's good, brother?
What's going on, brother? How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, man. It's definitely
good.
A pleasure to connect with you, man. So how's things at that side?
Man, everything's good, brother. I can't complain. I'm blessed, man. Been working, been busy, been keeping it moving, been grinding with the Holdin Court Podcast. You know what I mean? So just doing my thing, man. I'm blessed. I can't complain.
Okay, that's what's up, man. And we're definitely going to get to the Holdin Court Podcast. And in terms of the blessing, one thing I definitely respect about you is I see you do a lot of the motivational posts and stuff, and they keep people inspired and stuff like that, man. So especially myself, I see a lot of them. I'm going through my things, and I see it really give me that edge to stay focused.
Yeah, right. So, yeah, I do that a lot. Excuse me, man. I do that a lot because sometimes I'm talking to myself. Sometimes I'm giving myself that reaffirmation, and that encouragement. So I figure I share it with others. But I always believe that, your perspective shapes your reality. So if you think about negative things, then, you'll attract negative things. So we, in essence, we attract what we think about, So I just try to put that positivity out there, that motivation, because some days I'm needy. Some days I'm hyping myself up to get it done and stay focused.
Yeah, no, definitely, man. But so let's kind of start from the beginning then. With that being said, because you got a positive mindset, but you've come from, harsh inner city environments, growing up in Kansas. What was that like?
Well, let me correct you there. I'm from Missouri, so I'm from Kansas City, Missouri.
Okay.
So
okay.
Yeah. So a lot of times, a lot of out of towners.
I'm from the UK, City, so yeah.
But listen, they do it in the States all the time. So if you tell somebody you're from Kansas City, then they'll go back and say Kansas. It's like, no, I'm from Missouri. It's a whole nother state. But as I've said previous, man, I grew up in Kansas City, Missouri. I'm from a neighborhood called the 4 Block, 64130. I had a beautiful childhood. I was raised by strong women. I was raised where education was a focus in the household. I was raised on love. I wasn't raised on survival. Fortunately, I don't have the hardships to share in terms of growing up. I didn't grow up without. I was an only child. I grew up blessed. I grew up with love. But as you get older, and then, I was born in the 70s. So, it's the 80s come around, the crack epidemic, the gang, different things like that. So the environment starts to change. It becomes more violent, more volatile. So, my household is loving, but I got to go outside. You know what I'm saying? So I have to deal with the world. So, but my childhood was good, man. Growing up in Kansas City was fun. I played basketball. I was an avid athlete. I was a above average student. I thrived academically. I was a popular kid. I was kind of, I was the same way that I am now. I can be quiet and then I can be a social butterfly. So there's kind of a duality to my personality. So I've always been, I've been like I am now. So, but Kansas City is cool, man. I wouldn't change it. That's my birthplace,
Okay. So in terms of like music and stuff, is that where like Tech Nine and stuff's from?
Oh yeah. Tech Nine is from Kansas City. The first rapper that I know of to really break big and get a major deal and go nationwide from Kansas City, Velvet Cardi. Shout out to Velvet Cardi. But we had a lot of influential artists, and we had a hip hop scene as far back as the 80s. Excuse me. I was inspired by local people like Pure Dope. Shout out to Pure Dope. Money G. He had a group called PICO, Partners in the Criminal Organization. They were kind of like the first people I saw that were actually banging on wax. This was actually before the Bloods and Crips album from LA.
Yeah.
So, that history reflects that the first banging on wax that I heard was from Money G and PITO, and this was probably 1990, 91. So, you had influential people like that. Of course, we have Rich the Factor. I think he came out 91, 92, something like that. So yeah, we had a thriving scene. I mean, we continue to have a thriving scene. We have a lot of talent in Kansas City. A lot of people sleep on Kansas City. I mean, even now, we have artists like, Royce J. We got D-Walk. We got Roblo the Star. C-Dub, the Young Blood, Young Katt. We have so many awesome artists, in Kansas City that it's only a matter of time before it really breaks through and blows up. But yeah, we got a crazy music scene.
Okay. And I do want to touch on the music scene, but that's kind of good because you've kind of expounded on that then. Going from there, when did you actually then embark on your journey then musically and start out with CCG, and how did that come together, and what did you think of being likened to Bone Thugs and Harmony?
Yeah. This is the funny story, right? So CCG, we created that, me and my partner Cisco. CCG initially, we formed in maybe 1990, 89, 90, 91. We were all in middle school going to high school. And so at first we were like Wu-Tang. CCG was a big group. There was a bunch of us. Okay. We looked like a gang. We looked like a street gang. And so it whittled down just me and my partner Cisco. But I was influenced musically by, Eiht. Eiht was one of the first gangster rap records I ever heard, which was Squeeze the Trigger, which was on Rhyme Page. I think I was probably 10 years old when that came out. So NWA, obviously, EVE, I was really, it's Too Short. I was inspired by Ghetto Boys as well. So, I was always artistic as a kid. I could draw really well. I could do poetry. I used to write my mom poetry. So I think it was a natural, transition, a natural progression to transition to some type of written expression. So that's where the rap came in. And I used to do it just to kind of fuck around. But to your point, what you say, CCG is known for, sounding like Bone Thugs and being in that group. I'm gonna tell you where I got that fast rapping from. The fast rapping I got from JJ Fast. So if you remember, JJ Fast, Supersonic, and on the last verse, Baby D, I think was her name, when she did the whole little fast rap, I just thought that was dope. So I was actually doing that fast rap thing. I was doing that. I started rapping like that. I had never heard Bone Thugs and Harmony. I had never heard Twister. I had never heard any of that. So my fast rapping influence came from JJ Fad and from kind of Big Daddy Kane a little bit. Big Daddy Kane would kind of flip it a little bit. So I kind of was influenced by that as well. But, again, I was always flattered when we got the Bone Thugs comparison. Now, let me be honest. Let me just be 100. We were just rapping fast, right? But I can say that when Bone came out and how they incorporated the harmony and how they rapped in different patterns and they would switch up the staccato of how they would rap, it did influence me. So I ain't gonna try to front and act like I didn't hear them and then be like, oh shit, okay, damn, it's a broader scope of being able to do this. So they did open my ears and open my mind to be able to play with that fast rap, where before I was rapping more like JJ Fad, you know what I mean? It was just more, you know what I mean? So, but I always took it as a compliment when people would compare us to Bone Thugs.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think when I think of like fast rapping groups, there's only a few that only that you can hold at a certain level, and CCG being one of them, Bone Thugs, Crucial Conflict, Slipknot Mobsters and stuff as well. So And, so I put you in that category with them and stuff as well. So fast forwarded from there, then you would go on to sign with No Limit in the 90s and end up appearing on the Down South Hustlers. I do want to say it's a noteworthy track. I was actually playing it earlier because we got the news that Attack Down Canoe had passed away.
Okay.
So, I was bumping that track in tribute and stuff, So how did that come together?
Basically, I just wanted to, I didn't want to stay local, man. This was pre-social media. So you had to get on. You either had to have someone. I mean, the independent game was just kind of starting, at that point. But you had to have either somebody with a lot of money that understood the independent record business, or you had to get signed. So it was a very different game, a very different approach that you had to take to get in the business. I just didn't want to stay local. I always had big dreams. I always had everything I ever wanted to do or ever did. I always tried to do it on the biggest level I could do it. And I just didn't want to stay local. And I wanted everything that my favorite rappers had. I was like, shit, we could be like, at that time, Bone Thugs had just come out. So, I wanted the platinum records, the music videos, the fame. I knew I wasn't going to have that just trying to be local in Kansas City. You know what I mean? So I end up sending tapes out to all the record labels. I end up sending tapes to Ruthless Records, Rap A Lot, Black Market, No Limit. To be honest with you, I wasn't even really in the know of Master P. That's the crazy thing about it. I really didn't even know who he was initially. I was trying to get with Ruthless Records. So we have been talking with Ruthless Records, or I have been talking with Ruthless for months. And right when it looked like that it could be something, where the lady, Cassandra Ware, she used to work at Ruthless. And never met that lady, but she used to put up with all my calls. I used to call that motherfucker every other day. And she said Easy had heard the tape, he liked it, and he was gonna get with me. Somebody was gonna get with me. I don't know if it was true, but it gave us a glimmer of hope. You know what I mean? And so he ended up passing away that following March. So I was like, damn. So of course, all communication ceased with Rufus. And so I got back on the grind, and I sent the tape to Master P, to No Limit. This is when he was in the Bay. I would call his voicemail. He was one of the only companies that I can recall that actually had a phone number and a voicemail. So I would, outside of Rufus, and I think Black Market had one too, but I would call P's voicemail, and I would just fill it up. I would purposely fill it up so no one else could leave a message.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So he finally got the tape, I guess, because of my persistence. And he called me back. He called back and was like, hey, I heard the tape. That shit dope. Like, I'm doing a compilation called Down South Hustlers. Y'all want to get down? I was like, hell yeah. So he sent us two tickets. We flew out to the Bay Area. We did Down South Hustlers. We saw R.I.P. with me, him, Silk. We did that at K. Lou's studio, if I recall. Either K. Lou or Al Eaton. I can't remember. But, because, back then, we were so excited to work with K. Lou and Al Eaton because they were like Dr. Dre back then. You know what I'm saying? During that period. So, we got in their studio. That was the first time we had been actually in a big studio. Because prior to that, we had only been recording in, small studios in Kansas City. And, we had our own little studio that we had, my partner Cisco had jacked a bunch of people for the equipment. He was good for jacking people, stealing their equipment. So we had all our own stuff. But to be in a professional studio, that was our first time. And we did RIP. So he was like, man, let's go ahead and do an album, Now, you have to understand, man, I was like 18. This is like 95, so I'm like 18. So I'm a kid. We have no reference point of the music business. None. Like, we're kids, basically. And so we did an album. We actually recorded the album. If you look on the inside of the Down South Hustlers,
100% Game, the one that was at the time.
100% Game. If you look on the inside of the album, our album cover, that's me in the black, you know, sitting kind of like this. We did the album, but it was just some stuff with, you know, P and my partner that I rap with, they didn't get along. The management that we had at the time, I didn't really get along with the management. The management didn't get along with P. It was just a mess. It was a mess, you know, at the time. So the album never came out, but me and P always still maintained a friendship, you know. So, yeah, so that's how that went with No Limit at that period.
Okay. Well, I know you would continue at that point releasing like a string of independent albums and stuff like that. Did you ever, and you collaborated with a lot of artists over that period, did you ever connect with like the Outlaws or any of the West Coast artists like that?
Yeah, not the Outlaws, but years later, I would work with Mo Preem Shakur. Yes, okay. Years later. But during that period, no. During that period, I was really no. We were more autonomous. We were kind of just doing our thing in Kansas City. We had done a bunch of compilations back then, because back then compilations were hot. So I wish I had kept all of them, but I didn't. But we had done a gang of compilations, man, like a bunch of, from JT to Bigger Figure, we want Spice One's compilation. It's a lot that I don't even remember, but we were gaining some traction. We made a little bit of money because through our No Limit affiliation, because, you know, even because Down South Hustlers went gold. So we're still coming off a gold record. So being able to say that and being able to have that influence of being associated with Master P and No Limit at that time, you know, we were able to parlay that into other business opportunities, meaning that when I put out independent albums, you know, the distributors would pay me up front. You know what I mean? Yeah, yeah. So I was able to really eat and make money off of that.
Do what you need.
Like for real. Yeah. So yeah, you know, that's what happened to it. And, you know, we put out the CCD albums. We put out, I think 3 of them. Then I put out 2, but I put out Full and Rank, Court Dog, which is held as a classic. Then I put out Kansas City Chief and Thug's Diary. And then I put out Still Here, which was my movie soundtrack. So, you know, I still have a lot of fans. A lot of people love those albums. They find me on social media and from all over the world. That's the part that I trip on. It's from all over the world. You know what I mean?
I know those albums. Iconic.
Yeah. I get people from Asia, people from Germany, people from Japan. I mean, all over the world. They like, man, I have your album. I paid $200 for your album. Man, I remember this. In Germany, I know it's a company that reached out to me. They want to press up the vinyl of some of my old stuff because it's still popular, you know, over there.
People be doing that here now.
Yeah, so it was a blessing, man. You know, I loved that part of my life was exciting. You know, I was learning a lot. I was coming into my own as a young mogul, as a business guy. You know, and looking back on it, I was just, you know, the thing that I'm proud of is that, you know, independently, I'm one of the few artists, not the only, but I'm one of the few artists from Kansas City that was strictly independent during that time, during that period. And I always had my own money. You know, there was nobody behind me pulling my strings and putting money up. It was always me, you know, that did everything. And, you know, I was getting us in magazines and all of that. I was doing everything in terms of the business part of it. Cisco, he handled the production and the conceptualizing of the, you know, he handled the creative part. I handled the business part. But, you know, I look back on that and I was really proud of that because I was so young doing it. And it was different than now. You know, now it's the phone, it's technology, everything is just at your hand. Back then, you know, you had to find a manufacturer. You had to have the upfront money to pay for manufacturing. You know, an album cover, you know, my Kansas City Chief album cover, I mean, I paid $3,000 for that album cover at Pen and Picture. You know what I'm saying?
That cover was
like,
tight.
you can get that done now for $50.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, it was just a different time. There were a lot of hard costs that you had to incur up front, that you had to front load. So it was a whole different game. But me being so young and doing that, you know, I'm proud of that most.
Yeah, definitely, man. And I salute the grind because, like I say, man, even just me seeing you as an elder black man for what you've done, and I can see that you've took your strides and, you know, you've hustled forward and you've made things happen. You know, you appeared on the Down South Hustlers, but you continue to drop stuff that's iconic in its own right, built your own legacy, you know, made your own investments and moves. With that being said, while that was happening, No Limit would be going through its own transitional period from No Limit to like Gutter Music, the new No Limit. Then we seen like a resurgence years later with No Limit Forever, which was quite explosive. What can you recount from around that time? At what point did you move back to LA and reconnect with Master P?
Yeah, I say P. I think P moved to LA maybe in 2001, maybe 2002, and I came in 2003. So when I got back out here, when I moved out here and we were out here, that's when we hooked up, and you know it was back to rocking every day like how we were. Yeah, he was doing the gutter music. He was doing the it was a couple different labels.
Take a Stand
records. Yeah, Take a Stand. He had done a couple different things. And then he stepped away from the music because there was a period where we were transitioning into trying to start a TV network called
remember
BBT.
the BBT. I was praying for that, man. I was like, you know, that was looking huge, you know. Yeah.
And that's when, you know, I was really excited about that opportunity because, you know, P was gonna, you know, that was gonna be him bringing me to the table and bringing me to corporate America. You know, I had a guaranteed salary. I had shares in the company. That would have been a very, very big play for us. And maybe one day we'll revisit it. But, you know, that didn't work out. And after that, I kept encouraging P, you know, to get back into music. He wasn't really, you know, moved or motivated really to do it, you know, but I stayed on top of it. I said, man, you know, let's get back, let's do it. And so, I end up coming up with the name No Limit Forever. You know, I remember I said, man, we should either call it No Limit Legacy or No Limit Forever. And so I guess he thought on it. He was like, let's do No Limit Forever. And I said, yeah, that's dope. So that's when we started back in, this might have been 08, 09. And the first crew was, that was when we had the Atlanta crew, where we had Miss Chi,
Oak Tree,
Eiht, Oak Tree, damn, I can't remember all of them.
K.I.
K.I. is still my brother.
Big him up, man. My Jamaica family back there.
Yeah, K.I.
And he got the English Connect. He was the first English kind of cat as well.
Oh, man. Yeah. I used to love K.I. was just super talented. He's still super talented. He's the first person I ever seen that's like a gangster in real life and can gangster rap, but then can sing and play instruments too. You know, because K.I., he can go into the Jamaican shit. He speaks Nigerian and he speaks, I guess, Patois. But then he has an English accent. You know, so it's a dope mix. You know what I mean? So, so we did that. Then we went to Baton Rouge. Then that's when, you know, we brought in TC and Main Music and Gangsta, Benji, and all of that. You know, Tebow had already been there. You know, Tebow was already there. So yeah, you know, No Limit has went through its different transitions and its different phases, but you know, I learned a lot, man. You know, my experience with No Limit has been very different, you know, because you gotta remember, I'm one of the few people that's not family, that's still very close.
Exactly.
But then it was like I was there. I started as an artist with No Limit before it blew up. I missed the part where it blew up, right? I was doing something different. But then when it came back and it was reinvented, I was there for that. So it's like I've been through kind of the whole gamut of, the evolution of just everything P has done up to this point. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely, man. And we definitely salute you. And we got you to thank for coming up with the No Limit Forever Monica, which all the fans definitely represent, man. So I don't know how you are for time, but we still got a couple more questions and stuff left.
It's all good. It's all good. Let's get it.
You just mentioned TEC and Main Music, so we did want to ask about them as well. Just in your time around them, why do you think like things didn't really work out with them? And we saw other youngsters like Kodak that was around and stuff as well. Do you think it's just that divide between the old generation and the young generation?
Well, let me answer that first part. Man, when I tell you that Main Music was, oh my God, he's one of the most talented rappers that I ever seen. You know what I mean? He reminded me a lot of Soulja Slim. But Main Music, oh man, he was charismatic. He could rap for hours. I mean, dude, it just came to him. He's superbly talented. Same thing with TEC. TEC had the voice, he had the charisma, and he's doing really well now. He's coming to his own. Free Main Music. I know he's still serving his bid. Hopefully he'll be home soon. Yeah, those guys, man, I love that Baton Rouge sound. I've always gravitated towards the Baton Rouge sound, even to this day. I love Fredo Bang. I love NBA Youngboy. I fuck with Kevin Gates heavy. You know what I mean? So I've always liked that Baton Rouge sound. Yeah, man, those guys are talented, man, and they were good dudes. I mean, TEC was literally like my little nephew. Like when they were out here, he would be with me all the time. Like I would take him to the gym with me. We would go do shit, you know what I mean? Like I was kind of in charge of getting him back and forth to the studio at the time. So, those are good dudes, man. And I'm glad to see TEC still doing his thing and, spreading his wings and he's independent doing what he's doing. So, yeah, great. Them dudes are super talented.
Okay. And like with Kodak, did you have any experience being around Kodak?
Well, the times that Kodak was around, he was cool. Like I'd only been around him a handful of times. I don't have nothing bad to say about Kodak. He was always cool, laid back. You know what I'm saying? But the times I've been around him were when we were doing something. So, like we had the celebrity basketball game. He had showed up for it. P he did. He was cool then. We had did like some kind of back to school thing in his neighborhood in Florida.
Yeah, it was reported.
And yeah, I'm trying to think. I can't remember. I don't think Kodak showed up for that, but me and P were there, and our team was there. But as far as whatever happened, and the back and forth with whatever the misunderstanding was. Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, you back now, brother.
Okay. I think to some degree, it was probably what you said. It was probably just the difference in generation. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I think it's just the miscommunication. Yeah, but P tried to do what he could. He was trying to give dude the game and give him some guidance and whatever. And all you can do is try. All you can do is, you can take him to water, but you can't make him drink. So if somebody despises wisdom and experience, then that's their choice. But everything seems to be working out now. P is still flourishing, doing what he's doing. Kodak is out. Seems like he's doing well. So, Kodak probably just had to go through what he had to go through to get to where he's at now, because he seems to be doing well now. So.
Yeah. everybody got their path. Sometimes I say that, things
sure.
don't go for them. With that being said, I want to say P definitely always is brought in the next generation, the young generation. I think a great example of that is the stuff that he did with Louis V Mob, with, Ali Boy and Fat Trial and stuff as well. You was actually mentioned on, a track from The Gift, called Genius, where he said, told Court, come handle, drop me off something, and we see the Take a Ride video, which is one of my favorite videos from around that time.
Man. That Take a Ride video was crazy when we shot that. It was, people don't know, like, people think I'm exaggerating when I say that, but I'm not. It was just me and P.
I believe it. Yeah.
It was just us two. And I had, and this is the thing, people don't believe me. I had 2 pistols on me, and I had a grenade on. I had a grenade in my pocket. I really did. You know what I mean? So, but it was wild back then. Like it was, but it was all love. Ali Boy was super cool, man. Everybody, it was all love. It was all super cool in the hood. They treated us really well. You know what I mean? That was fun, man. That's one of my favorite songs on that album. Yeah, Take a Ride. One of my favorite songs. So yeah, it was that brought back memories right there. Yeah. Me and P on a mission.
Ali, he seemed like he definitely loved the tank and stuff as well, man. And one thing around that time, you was heavily seen in a lot of videos, and shows and stuff, which led to a lot of people, I think, mistaking you as Master P's bodyguard. And so, how do you respond to that? Or do you feel sometimes people see you as like his protege or his left-hand man? So,
you know what? This is the thing about it. It doesn't bother me, and as far as people that think that I'm P's bodyguard, until they try to use it to undermine the things that I have going on. You know what I'm saying? I've never been P's bodyguard. Like, I'm his homeboy, I'm his friend. I just happen to look like this. You know what I'm saying? So it'd be the same if I was thin, if I was skinny and just regular looking, I would still be next to him on the same, because he knows that I am going to protect him. I do got his back, and I'm going to get active if we have to. You know what I'm saying? Now, make no mistake, I may not be the official bodyguard, but I protect my brother. You know what I'm saying? I protect everybody with me. You know what I mean? So let the record reflect that. No, am I a bodyguard by profession? And that's what I was. No, but I protect everybody with me. Now, as far as being, people have referred to me as his left hand man and his protege. To me, I take that as a compliment. I'm not a person that I don't have no ego. For one, that's Big Bro. That's the boss. You know what I mean? Like, P is really the boss. He's the boss, the big boss. So, as they say, you never try to outshine the master. No pun intended. You know what I'm saying? So I learn from him. Anything that I do and I build and I move forward with is, many lessons I've learned from him. So I look at myself as an extension of him and No Limit. So even though we're not related, I still look at it as what Big Court does is the No Limit Master P lineage. You know what I'm saying? So I take it as a compliment. Anytime that I'm compared to greatness, I could never be offended. So when we were rapping and people would compare us to Bone Thugs, well, I would be mad that you're comparing me to one of the most successful groups in the world at the time. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, thank you. So if you're calling me a protege, or you're saying that I'm next to one of the biggest music moguls of our generation, I can't be mad with that. You know what I'm saying?
It kind of puts you next in line.
You say it again?
It kind of puts you next in line.
Yeah, for sure. You know what I mean? Now, the only thing that sometimes is tough with that is, when you're trying to build your own lane and you're trying to create your own lane and you're trying to solidify your own identity, P does cast a big shadow. You know what I'm saying? So you have to find your way in that. You know what I'm saying? That can be challenging, but it's still all good. It's still all good. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, other than now, I take all of that in stride, man, and it's funny because I was like, damn, people really think I'm the bodyguard. Like,
well, I think what you've done, especially in terms of like the brand extension with TME, like doing the muscle group stuff, and then transitioning into music with Boomerang and stuff. I've always seen it as like a succession or an extension of the tank, like just building on, adding on to the legacy in a new way. And in terms of the bodyguard stuff, I did see a story on your podcast where you said you and P was at a meeting with Gucci Man, and Suge came there, and you was on point, if needed to be and stuff. And we also
absolutely.
seen you in Growing Up Hip Hop. So we know that.
Yeah, it's the same way, man, because you got to understand, man, everybody, I'm a protector. Most of the fights that I've been in life, I'm a Leo, I'm a protector. Most of the fights that I've been in life have been from protecting other people and standing up for other people. You know what I mean? So I'm just like that, man. If you with me, then, you good. I'm going to do what I can to make sure that we're all okay, we're all safe. P is my brother, you know what I mean? I love him dearly. I love everybody in our camp, you know what I'm saying? So anytime that I'm around, he knows, but then I'm level-headed too. We not looking for no trouble. We not trying, we grown. We're mature. We're businessmen, you know what I mean? So we not looking for no trouble. We not trying to start nothing. As a matter of fact, we'll avoid situations if need be, but like I said, P understands that I am level-headed, but if necessary, then as I displayed on Growing Up Hip Hop, and in many other scenarios that weren't captured on camera, if necessary, we got to get after it, and that's what it is, But we try to avoid that at all costs.
Yeah, no, most definitely, and that's one thing that I respect about yourself, as well as P, I should say, is imparting, that positive message and stuff like that. And I think it's good that you said that about the deal with Gucci Man, because I think a lot of people slept on that Brinks management and the stuff that was happening with that. And I think even Meek Mill at one point was saying that P was his manager and stuff as well. So
I remember Meek being around for a quick second. I remember Gucci Mane. Yeah, he was around for a second as well. But like you said, that we had the meeting at Philippe Child's when Gucci and Waka was there and Suge came in, and it was all up. It was we don't. I think at some point, as they say, as you get older, you get wiser, you put away childish things. At least you should, P carries himself as a consummate businessman. You know what I'm saying? He ain't out here trying to thug or prove nothing to nobody, nor am I, nor is anybody around us at this point, at this stage of the game, or even at that stage of the game. So, everybody just trying to build legacies and build businesses and chase their dream and create positivity and maintain positivity, So that's all No Limit and everybody that's attached to it now. That's all it's about, creating a legacy.
And that's how it should be. And that kind of leads us nicely into just kind of the last portion of the interview. I think just looking at legacy is one of the things we've seen you is make the transition into being a screen actor and stuff. Now, we know that you've produced movies and stuff over the years and have started movies and stuff. Most notably, we've seen you in the I Got the Hookup 2, and you had the opportunity to work with Tiny Lister. You've worked with Michael J. White, Katt Williams, and a whole string of others. What's it been like for you just having that experience?
Man, Tiny Lister, Debo, man, that was like my big brother. We have become very close. I've always said that him and my business partner, who is actress Jasmine Lewis, she played Ice Cube's wife in Barbershop.
Okay.
She's a producer as well. Those two people probably advocated for me the most in Hollywood. Tiny, he used to make people put me in movies. He literally would Debo and make people put me in movies. you know, and he would tell people, you know, hey, if you want me, you got to get my little brother. If you want me to come, you got to get my little brother. You got to pay him too. So, you know, Tiny was a good dude. He loved my family. Sometimes me and him, we would hook up and go to Dave and Buster's, and our kids would play together, and me and him would just hang out and talk for hours. You know, so yeah, that was my brother, man. He was a good dude. It was good to share the screen with him, but most importantly, it was good that I was able to cultivate a brotherhood with him. So, you know, rest in peace to Tiny. I actually think about him often as well. And Michael Jai White, again, is another person I consider a big brother. You know, he's a personal friend. He actually did my podcast as well.
I've seen it.
Yeah. So, you know, and speaking of Michael Jai, you know, I want to send condolences to him because, you know, his oldest son passed away from COVID. So condolences to Michael Jai and his family. But in working with Katt Williams, you know, that was crazy. You know, Katt was a personal friend of mine, you know, for years. So he did the movie that I financed and I starred in called Young American Gangster, and he came and did that with me. But, you know, me and Katt had our little issues, you know.
Well, yeah, we did see something that was reported. It was kind of controversial where you said he totaled his car or something like that. And
yeah,
and I think it's dope and the stuff you do at the Holdin Court Podcast. And I think it was great even just seeing you on that as somebody from No Limit representing where you've got you know, Mob James and stuff as well. And I was like, you know, that's pretty dope, you know, being a No Limit representative there with the Death Row, you know, affiliation. Exactly. So you know, I got a couple more questions. You was also seen with P, you know, at a Jay Prince signing. What was it like meeting Jay Prince, man?
Oh man,
I don't know if you had met him before, but you know.
No, I hadn't met Jay prior to that, right? So what happened? We were in Atlanta for I can't remember. We were in Atlanta for some type of function, and shout out to Julia Beverly from. She had the magazine. She wrote Pimp C's book. So Julia Beverly is a friend of mine. So she hit me and was like, "Hey, you in Atlanta?" I was like, "Yeah." She was like, "Well, I'm with Jay. We over here with his book signed." So I was like, "Oh, okay." So I told P. I said, "Hey," I said, "Jay is over at the mall." He was like, "Oh shit, let's go over there. Let's go holler at him." And so we went over there, and that was my first time, you know, formally meeting him. And it was all good. It was all love. You know, Jay is a boss. You know, Jay's the OG. That's old man. You know what I mean? And he received me. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was like, "Hey, man, you family." He was like, you know, No Limit, that's family. So it's whatever you need, let me know. Which is, fast forward, how he was able to do my podcast. You know what I mean? Because he was a man of his word. He was like, "Man, you family." So actually, after that, well, during that moment, it was a little tense because, you know, Julia had felt some kind of way about something that P had said about her on the Breakfast Club. And basically, P wasn't too happy about her mentioning in her book about the Pimp C shit. You know, P is a real respectful dude, so he don't like talking about dead people or people that can't defend themselves. You know what I'm saying? So once Pimp died, it was like, it's really nothing to talk about. You know what I'm saying? So, but I understand what she was trying to do, you know, for her journalistic shit. She was trying to find out the truth. And so she felt some kind of way. Then he said something over it. So it was just a bunch of, you know, I felt like, you know, that type of shit. So they kind of had an exchange at Jay Prince's thing. But it was all good, though. It was grown people shit. It wasn't no messy, you know, disrespectful shit. It was grown people exchange of, okay, you said this about me. And Pete was like, "Hey, I said it. You know, I didn't mean no disrespect, but I felt like you were overstepping." You know what I'm saying? So it was all good. It was all love. And so fast forward, Jay had came out to LA, and I was trying to hook up with him, trying to do lunch with him. But he was moving, making his rounds. And so they had went over to I think it was Roscoe's Chicken and Waffle. And so, I know a lot of people out here. So I called Roscoe and was like, hey, Jay Prince, him and his party, whatever they want, call me with the bill. You know what I'm saying? I got it. You know what I mean? And so just as a show of token of appreciation and just respect to one of the bosses. And, he was like, man, I appreciate that. Just the show of respect. And, Jay carry it like a mafia don. You know what I mean? So, when I did the podcast, I reached out and it was like, hey, whatever you need, let me know. So that's how that worked out. So I'm really, honored to be able to have, a relationship with, Jay Prince, with Master P, even Eiht. I had Eiht come to the podcast.
Yeah.
And these are people I've looked up to since I was a kid. You know what I'm saying? So to be able to work with them and have them view you as a contemporary, you know what I'm saying? And have that mutual respect, man, is fulfilling. It's awesome,
Yeah, no, it's big, man. And you definitely done and are coming up in your own ranks, as a boss in the game. With that being said, we know you're an entrepreneur and an independent hustler in your own right. What made you start the Holdin Court Podcast? And then we've got a couple of stories based around, things that have happened on there recently.
What, again, a lot of this stuff goes back to Pete, you know what I mean? Because he had a TV show / radio show called Doin The Most a couple years back.
Juggy and
with Jay Tweezy was on it. And he asked me to be a part of it. He invited me just because I'm his boy. I didn't have any experience, you know what I mean? So when I did it, Jay Tweezy would tell me, like, man, you're good at this. You're good at this. And I was like, really? And he was like, yeah. He was like, you're actually good at this. So, Jay Tweezy and P giving me that positive reaffirmation, you know what I mean? That positive encouragement. I always hung on to that. And then briefly, I had a radio show on Dash Radio after that. From doing their show, the people that were working on his TV show, they thought I was good as well. So they gave me a show on Dash. I did that for just a short moment, and then I got busy doing other shit. So as the podcast game exploded, and then with the quarantine, when we were quarantined, all I was watching was podcasts on YouTube. And so, I really started getting inspired, like, man, I could do this. And then from being on social media, from engaging, from going live, a lot of my fans and my followers would encourage me too. They would say, hey, man, you should do a podcast. You say a lot of good shit. We love your insights. We love your positivity. We love your stories. We love all of that. So you should consider that. So during the quarantine, I brushed up on it. All I did was watch podcasts. And I got with my partner, producer Ken, and I told him, because me and producer Ken, we produced some other TV shows and TV pilots together. And I was like, man, I need you to help me with this podcast, man. Let's do it together. So, right after the quarantine, man, we got right to work.
Okay. I mean, definitely hats off to you, man, because I think the way you've been able to establish it, the brand, is one of the top podcasts, I'd say, on YouTube, or up there with one of the ones that I'm watching a lot of the fans check out. It's got high production value, the set, everything on it's great guests and stuff. So definitely I encourage all the listeners to check it out. With that being said, it doesn't always go to plan when shooting these things, and we've recently seen it going viral of you being pranked on the podcast. What was it?
Yeah, that was crazy. I've never been pranked, man. Like I was shocked that Ken, even, because producer Ken is the one that set me up. I'm glad that I was a good sport about it. Shout out to Full Send and MTV Jesse. He's a great guy. That dude make a lot of money. He has a big audience. I had no idea who he was. And so, man, they got me. I was trying to be professional. And what's funny about it is, excuse me, as it's trending, it's still trending. it went viral. You know, it's on World Star. It's on. I mean, I got so many followers. Our analytics shot up after that, and you know, we got hella subscribers on the podcast. All of that hella downloads. So for producer Ken, it was a great move for him to do that for the exposure of the brand. But you know, I was shocked by people that were really shocked by how patient I was. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, okay, it's time and place. You know what I'm saying? Like,
did you have any inclination to it or not?
No. I thought dude was either on pills or I thought he was like slow. You know, I thought something was wrong with him mentally. Okay. So I never felt like threatened or felt like I was wanted to smack him or something like that, because I thought that he just wasn't all there, you know? And so I'm like, but then I'm paying him to be there and I need to get the sound. So that's why I'm like, but damn, I need him to get this shit right, because I don't have time to try to to locate another sound person. So, but he was good, man. The shit that he was saying to me, he was talking about, I had a fake chain. He was talking about, when I finally got irritated, I was like, look, dog, man, I ain't trying to put my foot in your ass. And he was like, well, you're going to have to go through the union if you want to do that. I was like, something wrong with this dude. You know what I mean? Like, so, I'm glad that I responded like I did, because on top of that, I think that, you know, it dispelled a lot of the stereotypes that they may have toward, you know, niggas, black men, you know, rappers or whatever, you know what I'm saying, the urban culture. They think that we just so, you know, overtly violent and prone to criminality and ignorant. And it's like, nah, man, like, you know, I understand time and place. And that wasn't the, you know, maybe if he had done something more egregious or said something more disrespectful or invaded me, you know, physically or something, but, you know, but I'm glad, I was a good sport about it, man. It was funny. I watched it and crack up laughing, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it was funny, man. It wasn't time for him to catch them hands on TV.
Nah, man. Like, he said that he had never been assaulted. He said he'd been doing it for 7 years, and he's never been hit, assaulted, or never gotten a fight or nothing.
Yeah, you know, he got the good luck behind him, man, or something. With that being said, we got a last couple of things that we're gonna go with. Have you got any advice for the next generation and like young people or people up and coming trying to get in the game?
Man, I would just say, you know, do what you love. Don't chase the money. You know, be a purpose chaser, not a paper chaser. You know, if you love it, you'll put the time into it, and you will succeed at it. If you just do it for money, when it doesn't make money and it doesn't manifest what you're looking for, you're going to stop. You're not going to put the time in. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I think exercise a level of patience and understand that, you know, you don't reap the fruit the first day you plant the seed. You know what I'm saying? So you have to put that work in and water them seeds. I would say educate yourself, study about what it is you're trying to do. And really just try to keep an overall positive outlook on life. You know, that's people don't really understand how important that is. You know, we attract what we think about. You know what I'm saying? So if you think that you can do something, you probably will. If you think you can't, then you probably won't. You know what I mean? So that would be my message, man. Just, you know, chase the dream, chase the journey. The money and all that shit, it comes. You know, and nobody remembers what kind of chain you had. Nobody remembers what kind of car you have. People remember how you made them feel. You know what I mean? So that's the most important thing, you know. And yeah, you know, stay out the way, man. Don't be afraid to evolve. Don't be afraid to change. Don't be afraid to be uncomfortable, you know, because where you're uncomfortable means you're growing, you know. And if you're comfortable, then that means you're complacent. And complacency is the enemy of progress. So, you know, stay fluid, you know, and stay pliable in life, you know, stay learning, stay studying. That's really my overall message. Because with knowledge and with understanding the evolution, you'll make better decisions. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we're going to make mistakes, but you try to cut down on your mistakes, because if you're always seeking wisdom, or you're always accepting wisdom and accepting of new information, then, and you can apply it. Now, it's the difference between knowledge and applied knowledge, and you're able to, apply it, then you save yourself a lot of heartache and a lot of trouble, So, you live life long enough to teach you how to live. Life is not that complicated. We tend to complicate it,
Yeah, that's definitely some wise philosophical game right there. And I definitely know the fans will appreciate that, and the listeners. Before we head out, can we ask you what, we usually get people's top 5 No Limit albums. So we ask you your top 5.
My top 5 would be Master P, 99 Ways to Die. Master P, MP The Last Don. Silk's first album, The Shocker.
Ooh.
Probably West Coast Bad Boy. And the I'm About It soundtrack.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All of those got that gritty, that early West Coast, early West South gritty vibe.
Yep. So, to me, the MP The Last Don is such a classic album. That's when he was really, really, hitting that stride. The Ice Cream Man is a mentionable album. But oddly enough, P was my favorite rapper on No Limit.
Same.
You know what I'm saying? Like, he was my favorite rapper. Like, it's so funny because he's one of my best friends, but it's like, he was P probably could be in my top 10 of my favorite rappers, which is crazy. Now, I've never said that out loud. I never even thought about it, but P could probably definitely be in my top 10, top 15 rappers.
Well,
definitely top 15.
The funny thing is, I was going to ask you next, because I know you're a hip-hop connoisseur. It would have just been lastly your top 5 hip-hop albums, but all rappers. So we could go for your top 10 rappers if you want, which is a wider list.
Well, I could do top 5.
Oh, top 5? Yeah, that's what I was going to do.
So if I do top 5, it would have to be old school and new school. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So my top 5 let me not say old school. My top 5 veteran rappers would be Spice One, Scarface, Ice Cube. Shoot, I'd have to think, man. Man, that's crazy. I'm drawing a blank now.
The iceberg, man, as well.
Ice-T. Yep, Ice-T. And probably I'd have to say, I was a big fan of, I don't know. I was a big fan of Pimp C and Crazy Bone. I know that might be kind of odd, but Pimp C and Crazy Bone maybe could share that top 5. That 5. Now, new school, I would have to say NBA Youngboy, Rod Wave, Moneybagg Yo. I like Moray and probably Mo 3.
Okay, rest in peace.
And Roddy Ricch. I would say them are probably my new school.
Yeah, Rich is hot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, this is a pretty solid list, man. So, lastly, anything that we can look out for you on the music front? I know you've got young artists under your banner like Rush J and stuff.
Not at the moment, but I'm sure that I will revisit it at some point. But I still work loosely with, if they need me, with Royce J, with C-Dub, the Young Blood, anybody from Kansas City, from my hometown, whatever advice or whatever support I can give them, whether they're on my label or not. That's how 100 I keep it, with my city. They don't even have to be on my label. If they need something, if there's a connect, or some type of resource I have, that will help, them further their career and their goal or what they're trying to do, I give it to them. So it ain't about them being signed with me. So, I really try to walk it like I talk it. I can't do everything. I can't save everybody, but what I can do, I try to give freely. So I try to give, information, game, resource, strategy is really important. I try to be honest with them, tell them the truth. And even for certain guys, I even may help them, financially, with something that they may be doing. Like, hey, you want to go to World Star? Okay, cool. I'll pay for half of it for you. And they're not even my artist. You know what I'm saying? They're not even signed to me. So if it blows up, hey, cool. You don't owe me nothing, So I try to be a real OG and a big homie as much as I can,
Yeah, no, definitely, man. That's real, man, because ain't too much going to do that. So we definitely want to salute you, and we appreciate your time and stuff like that. Lastly, we'll have your stuff in the description, like your link to the podcast and your social media.
Okay, cool.
Or anywhere else you want to plug for people to find you?
No, man, people, I'm Big Court on IG. Subscribe to the YouTube page, to our podcast, Holdin Court, and the IG Holdin Court. Also, we're on Spotify. We're on all the streaming platforms, so download, stream it, Holdin Court Podcast. We have, so far, we have Bosco 100, Jasmine Lewis, Silk the Shocker, and Mike Dorsey, filmmaker Mike Dorsey. This week we're dropping Little Easy E. So shout out to Lil E. Yeah, we got Lil E dropping. Then in about 2 weeks we'll have Master P. We'll be dropping his segment. But we have so much. We got Jay Prince, Flesh and Bone, Busy Bone. We got Big Boz from No Limit. I know a lot of people will be curious to hear from him.
They waiting.
So I know a lot of the No Limit people are wanting to hear from him. So we got him, Sticky Fingers, Michael Jai White, Eiht. We got Gorilla Black. We got X-Rated. We have so many people, and we're trying to lock in Snoop and Warren G right now too. So
okay, now that would be dope, man. So we'll definitely be tuning in and definitely staying updated and that stuff.
For sure.
So we want to say salute and continuation on your great work, and we'll be supporting all your endeavors and stuff. And peace to all the work you're doing out there.
I appreciate it, my brother. Hey, thank you. Salute to you. I know you've been doing your thing for a while. I'm glad that we could finally make this happen. You know what I'm saying?
Most definitely,
I
man.
appreciate all your support, you know what I mean, that you do for No Limit, for all the soldiers. I seen that you had the interview with Crazy and, different people. So, man, I appreciate you, man. Keep doing your thing.
Much love, fam, man. You already know. Salute.
All right, salute, brother.
Peace. Peace, family. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and check us out on outnotonline.com. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook for exclusive playlists and social media for all different types of segments and content.